approach to make materials at lower temperatures so we can make metastable materials. So this material, we reacted for 3 days. I think 1 day is enough, but 3 days is a nice weekend. If you do that, then you make the hydrogen analog of this material. A low temperature heat treatment gets rid of the protons, or you can chemically remove these protons or electrochemically at room temperature. So make this nice structure. And what we form are these nice cuboids, about 100 nanometer in size, all uniform. And using these materials, we then get this electrochemical behavior. You can see vanadium 5 to vanadium 4 at just under 4 volts, then vanadium 4 to vanadium 3 at between about 2.25 volts to just under 2 volts. And you'll see these bumps here. This is lithium ordering in the structure. And this has no effect on electrochemical behavior, except to make this, when you're actually moving lithium ions, this becomes single phase, so it's very high rate. And the key point to note here is the black curve is the first cycle. The purple curve is the 50th cycle. There's no difference. So we have now proof of concept. We can stuff or intercalate 2 lithium ions into a crystalline lattice without hurting that lattice in any manner. So we've got proof of principle here. We've now got a few other challenges to make this material work. But I think others will say this was our Nexus consortium that worked on this. We had theorists working on it, characterization experts, and obviously our synthetic folks. So let me just show you a few conclusions on what's next. We believe lithium intercalation systems will dominate for the next 5 to 10 years. These layered oxides will be dominant, but they will go close to zero cobalt. The phosphates will have key markets, and I expect they're going to grow again now that Tesla's announced they're going to use it in all their Chinese cars and maybe even in some of the lower cost US ones. The key research need is safe and stable electrolytes. These haven't really changed since 1990. And the big challenge now and interest of researchers is, can we use a solid state electrolyte? This will make it much safer, allow us to use lithium metal, and maybe higher charging voltages. But I want to leave the message with you that energy storage can help to mitigate climate change, make us greener vehicles, enable renewable energy, and help us eliminate the dirty peaker power plants. These tend to be old coal power plants. We had one of these in Binghamton. They put a lithium battery next to it. Within a month, the coal power plant was turned off and never came back again. And if we do this, we'll leave a greener world for our children and grandchildren. And I would just like to point out that in 2019, India installed the second most solar facilities in the world after China, more than the US, more than Germany, more than any other country. So I will stop there and try to unshare.
Okay, thank you, Professor Whittingham, for the wonderful and stimulating lecture and taking us through the exciting journey of lithium-ion batteries. So we are really living in a world where we cannot imagine life without lithium-ion batteries, and we are really privileged to hear directly from the scientist, the professor, who is one of the inventors. We have a little more than 500 participants or viewers who have been watching this lecture. And we will now have a short question and answer session. Although we have received quite a lot of questions, but unfortunately we won't be able to take all of them. So we have sorted out a few of them for Professor Whittingham to answer them. Professor Whittingham, should we start with the questions?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So the first question is from Abra Shao, who asks the question. So here is the question. So lithium has very limited resources, currently 0.0017 weight percent in the Earth's crust, while sodium and potassium are abundantly available. So which is like more than 2% weight percent. So why not sodium, potassium, ion battery to make rechargeable battery at low cost?
So the answer is twofold there. One, people are looking at sodium. And if you look back in the 1970s, Bell Labs and others also looked at sodium. The issue with sodium, it's larger, so it tends not to diffuse as well. It also melts around 100 degrees centigrade. So people are worried about its possibility in thermal runaway of melting. And if you've got an organic solvent, you're going to have an explosion. But I think the major issue is lithium has much higher energy density. So the voltage of a lithium cell is between half a volt and 1 volt higher than sodium. So I think you're never going to see sodium in your laptops, your cell phones, and I expect not in your cars because it doesn't have a high enough energy density. I think it's quite feasible that it will be used in grid storage eventually. But right now, lithium ion is by far the lowest cost battery material. So it's going to be used. Potassium has about the same cell voltage as lithium. But potassium, because it's larger, is going to have some diffusion problems. And also, therefore, the potassium ions interact with each other more because they're larger. And there's more repulsion, so the voltage changes. The big problem with potassium, it melts at 60 degrees centigrade. So it's very likely to melt in your cell, and then you've got real problems. So I think we should study potassium to understand lithium and sodium better. But I don't see anybody ever building safe potassium batteries.
Okay, thank you, Professor Whittingham. So the next question is what is your opinion on zinc air batteries as competitor in automobile sector?
In the automobile sector, no possibility whatsoever. So because the energy density is too low. I think the issue in the automobiles now, and I expect it's also a big issue. I gather India and Delhi are switching over to batteries for their three-wheelers. Anything but lithium takes up too much volume, too much space, and lithium ion is probably lower cost than any other system. So, no, lithium ion battery is going to be there. I don't see anything bumping them from it at the moment.
Okay. So on a related, one more related question. So what are your views on use of lead-free perovskites for anode materials in lithium-ion batteries for long-term applications, considering higher capacity for intercalation? So this is asked by Kartiki.
So this is for lithium batteries using lead-free anode materials, or?
Yes, lead-free perovskites for anode materials.
Okay. I think in batteries, you don't want to use perovskites or anything else if you can avoid it, because that's higher weight, more volume. So you want to go to a metallic anode, as said, ideally lithium metal, or you're doing sodium metal, and if necessary, alloy it with another metal. So I think a number of solid-state batteries are using a lithium indium alloy. It's not quite so reactive with the electrolyte, and it makes better contact. So there's interest there, but I think people are only on very specialized applications. There's some interest in using lithium titanium oxide as an anode material combined with, say, lithium iron phosphate to replace lead acid batteries as a starter battery in vehicles, not for the main propulsion. So there's some interest there.
Okay. So So here is a question which has been asked by many young researchers out here. So the question is, what advice would you like to give to all young people, especially for those who have just embarked on a career as a researcher?
Same advice I give to all younger folks. Do something that you enjoy doing. Be happy doing it. Don't do something for the money, because eventually you will be unhappy. And take risks, enjoy yourself. And that's the key thing. When you're young, enjoy yourself. And I think I would say, and I think Dr. Ramnan would say, see the world whilst you're young. And hopefully once this COVID virus has gone away, we'll be able to meet in person again. But hopefully we won't do quite as much traveling as we have been doing. But for the young folks, enjoy yourself. Have a good time.
Okay, I think that was really enlightening and very inspiring, Professor Whittingham. So I think we are going to conclude the question and answer session here because of the interest of time. So I would like to thank all the organizers and especially all the faculties of the Department of Chemistry and IIT Delhi for organizing this webinar, and especially the director, the deputy director, and the dean of R&D for their constant support and encouragement, and also Professor Ram Ramaswamy, who was supposed to be here, but okay.
There. I think he's there. Ram is there.
Yeah. Okay.
I very much here, Sonik.
Yeah. So I'd request Professor Ramaswamy to say a few words and conclude this session. Yeah.
Okay. Professor Whittingham, this has been a most fabulous way to start our Diamond Jubilee celebrations at the IIT Delhi. And the chemistry department is particularly pleased to have had you kick off the series of seminars for this year. Thank you very much for inspiring all of us, particularly the young folk, and giving us such insight into such important matters, which I'm sure will have a lot of bearing on the world that we will see in the post-COVID era. Just the impact of your work has been phenomenal, and if it helps us to make a more energy efficient, less world, I think we would have really done something. And thank you for giving us such insights into this, into your work, and sharing so much of your work with us. I'd like to also take this opportunity to thank all the colleagues at the IIT, the director, the deputy director, and all the colleagues in the chemistry department for such wonderful support in starting off this series. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So we officially conclude this session, and thank you for joining the webinar today. And we have a small announcement. So the Department of Chemistry will be organizing a webinar almost every week with eminent speakers from all around the globe. So we request you to please visit our webinar website for more information about the upcoming talks. So thank you, and hope to see you again soon. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Whittingham. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Hey, Sonik.
Yes, so I think, thank you, everyone.
That's very well done, man. You organized brilliantly.
Okay. Thank you.
Samik, you have done a wonderful job.
Thank you, President.